Welcome to Research Business Daily Report, where researchers come for news insights and commentary about their field that they won't find anywhere else, but that impacts them inside and outside their place of business. Today on RBDR, we present our annual pre-Super Bowl evaluation of the advertising upcoming in the big game. Most evaluations, of course, will take place on Monday after the game, but we're interested in digging into the ad spots before they hit the big time. So, what advertising is most likely to leave a big positive impression, and which will be unfortunate duds? Unfortunate in that the marketers will have thrown away $5 million on a 30-second spot and maybe blown their 2017 budget in the process. Our panel of experts: Robert Pasakoff of Brand Keys, David Paul of Dial Smith, and Alex Hunt of Brain Juicer. And gentlemen, let's start by first talking about whether there are any new trends in the ads that you have seen so far. Alex, why don't you go first?
Sure. I think the big trend this year is live. So both Hyundai and Mars have said they're going to air a live Super Bowl spot that they're recording during the game. And that trend also extends to the insights industry. For the first time ever, Brain Juicer, in conjunction with Zappy Store, are actually going to live test via a quantitative methodology all of the ads that air on Sunday night. So I think the big trend for this year is live, really, as we see it.
Okay. David, anything new that you're seeing?
Well, thanks for having me. I certainly noticed the same. I think what Hyundai's doing, shooting, I think they're billing it as kind of a mini documentary behind the scenes during the game. So live with that and Snickers, but also they're bringing some bigger names to play. I think Peter Berg is actually directing that Hyundai spot that they're shooting during the game. The Coen brothers are shooting the Mercedes spot. So I'm kind of calling it some new gimmicks, and not necessarily in a bad way. But really, I think some of these brands looking to gain some attention for more than just the ad itself, but also how they're producing and releasing.
Robert.
Well, I was going to say that having reviewed most of the ads, I felt like Mae West, where too much of a good thing is wonderful. For the first time this year, what we've been seeing are more ads than not that are really working on the basis of not only just entertainment, but engaging the consumer with the brand. I mean, you threw out, ask about, what you like. There's a lot to like, I think, this year.
Okay, well, let's start with that. Robert, why don't you go first? Which of the one or two or three best spots have you identified, or that you feel best about?
Well, you know my attitude, which is these are not supposed to be small movies. They're supposed to be ads that move the brand forward and sell something. I think the WeatherTech stuff is spot on. I mean, certainly not the most creative ad that's on the Super Bowl this year, but they are leveraging the hell at an appropriate time, one might think, of being made in the USA. And the ad is one that is just nicely done.
Alex?
I think the brands that connect with consumers on an emotional level are really the ones that are going to hit a 5-star home run from Super Bowl. So the two that stand out to me so far are really the ABI Budweiser spot that was released yesterday. Really tugs at the heartstrings, tells a really positive story, I think, in a time when America feels increasingly divided. The other one that stood out was the Breeze spot, which really is actually hilarious. And I think, again, at a time when America feels increasingly divided and conflicted, just has the audience laughing out loud. And the more that brands can connect on an emotional level, the greater the likelihood is that they're going to see a return on an absolutely massive Super Bowl investment.
David.
I certainly agree with those. I think there is some really good storytelling. The Budweiser ad, I think, is going to do quite well. In our early ratings, we're seeing that one and Mercedes both really in the top spots. I think the Mercedes one is beautifully shot. Doesn't tell as deep of a story, but to Robert's point, whether it's favorable or not, you're watching almost a little mini movie for a few seconds, and people are resonating with it early. The Budweiser story is going to be a great one right now, I think. Personally, I really like the King's Hawaiian spot. I think with the dads and the kids, it just has a nice little punchline at the end. And anytime you can work in, puppies in years past or kids, you're gonna get people's attention as well. So I think that's a nice one.
All right. So let's move on to what might be some big zeros. And David, out of what you've seen so far, do any of them look like they're going to go right through the floor?
Well, there's some head scratchers for sure. I'm questioning the Intel spot with Tom Brady. Obviously, he has the star power without a doubt. But what they're promoting in the spot is their 360 replay, so it's not really any kind of a consumer product. So clearly it's a strong branding play. Obviously, it has strong ties to the game, not only football 360 replay, but with Tom Brady in it himself. But I'm not really sure how that's going to connect or move the needle. The Skittles spot, I'm questioning as well. It's the one where the boy is throwing Skittles out the window to attract his girlfriend, and the family's catching everything in their mouths. What I found interesting is they put together this really great promo video online with Marshawn Lynch that has some really great, funny, engaging content. And I'm questioning why some of that wasn't cut down into a spot versus what, to me just seems silly, and I'm not sure it's going to connect, the Skittles spot that I've seen.
Alex, how about from you?
Yeah, well, the two places where I think brands are going to fail are really forcing consumers to think too much. Viewers just make system one decisions, quick, instinctively, on a gut emotional level. And certainly in years past, advertisers that have failed are those that set out an overly complex, thoughtful story. And certainly among some of the teasers that have been released, there's some evidence of that. I think the other part that's just incredibly surprising to me is advertisers who didn't do their homework before, putting creative together. We saw yesterday a GNC spot rejected by the NFL because some of the ingredients advertised are actually banned, by the NFL. And given the amount of investment, required for a Super Bowl spot, it's surprising that brands, agencies, networks don't do their homework first. That those are the sort of big failures right out of the gate.
Okay. And Robert, any that you think are eligible for the advertising gong show?
Well, you've gotten to a point where production values are really well done. I mean, we had some questions about the Intel commercial as well, just because it doesn't seem to be something consumers are going to bond with, if you will. More often than not, what we've caught are some wonderfully, wonderfully entertaining commercials that ultimately don't make the point. And Alex, I'd just like to comment. We did an evaluation of the Budweiser piece, which one might have thought would have fit into things that are happening today. Although I will point out that it wasn't a total welcome. When he got to New York, they hated him and didn't want Doggy Bush anywhere near them. Although St. Louis was welcoming to him. The thing is that while it kind of makes a nice story, and of course it's always well filmed and produced, that's the commercial that they should have done 5 years ago when people were shifting over to craft beers, and they were bringing out puppies and young foals. So I point out that there was an article today in Media Post about our Super Bowl ROI, and the biggest discussion point is look how much this stuff gets shared. And I think the question really ought to be, okay, there's no empirical test for taste, so you may like one thing, I may like another, but you can look at sales. You can look at what these things generate. And I didn't see the clips, any of the additional clips about the Skittles. It was funny enough, but Snickers and Skittles always do well, no matter what they run on the Super Bowl. I mean, the sales they run the ads and the sales just go up immensely. So I've kind of taken a step back from saying, well, I didn't really care for that one. I think the context for them works really well. I thought, by the way, that the commercial for Wix with Stratham and Gal, was it Golan, the Wonder Woman, the actress who plays Wonder Woman. It was an amazing film. But I think you've gotten to the point in this world where most of the stuff that gets run are names that we already know, and the competition is really to, as we've said for 1,000 years, emotionally engage and get these people thinking that this is the brand for them.
Okay.
But I think there are a lot of brands out there that are going to do it this year.
Gentlemen, I want to thank all three of you for cooperating and participating today. We appreciate all your input. That's your Research Business Daily Report. We hope you have a great research day, that you enjoy your weekend, and that the Super Bowl is a good game, so it'll keep our attention and get everybody to watch all the commercials. And, of course, we hope that we'll see you all back here on Monday.